Hi, my name is Dr. Newtopia, and this is Loveolution. Loveolution is for a transformation in consciousness and the way that we do things. It sees the world in crisis, and it has a plan to change the world. So Loveolution is something that's necessary, like love is necessary for our survival. Well, Loveolution is kind of the whole big picture of what love does. When we're having this massive love effect, then we can do things like shoot meteors or asteroids out of the sky that's about to hit the Earth. We have that much organization and that much awareness about what is happening to save the planet. Well, for the last 2 weeks, I've been going to the gym show. I've been going there for about a decade, trying to understand exactly what it means for all these rocks to come to Tucson. They're shipped in a number of different ways, whether it's air or water or through the post office. We get the rocks here, and they are beautiful. The beauty is almost, well, it just makes me see how wondrous this planet is and how diverse it is. And over the years of looking at the rocks, I have become acquainted to how rocks look from certain parts of the world. And this whole global trade of rocks. It's really quite fascinating to me. I think that it is the primal way that we deal with our economy. For example, gold is, at one time, it was the basis of the exchange system. And it's still certainly significant. So rocks play this primal role in the market, in the global market, in global capitalism, how it has evolved, can be seen at that gym show. So I go trying to understand what is this global trade system and what does it mean to the ecology? What does it mean to bring these huge rocks, these gorgeous amethyst and quartz into Tucson to sell? I think of all the mining that's taken place and the exploitation of labor that's surely occurring in this market, because it occurs in every single market, the whole profit motive. And it's chaos. It's a form of chaos is what we're doing with the rocks. Well, I'm going to start the short slideshow right now. And there are other things that are sold at this gym show. For example, there are some Tibetan singing bells. Now, with this gym show comes all these religious objects. You might see a laughing Buddha made out of some white stone. And you might see a Christian icon in some kind of stone. And their clothes, these exotic clothes that come to Tucson, and artwork. So it is things that you cannot buy at Walmart. This is more of a high-end market. And also, with the gym show comes the fossils. And here is a fossil replica of a dinosaur. So it's really this bizarre situation where we've got the backdrop of these fossils this extinction that we know occurred at one time, and the rocks. And somehow blending these two together, I'm seeing this whole global system that is going through another major extinction. So we have the presence of a former extinction, and then we have our present day on the verge extinction that is happening because of one reason, because of the burning of fossil fuels to get all those rocks to Tucson. And all those people to Tucson, think of the amount of fossil fuels it takes to bring those rocks here, when we're supposed to be cutting down on greenhouse gases. Now, the dilemma is, of course, that a lot of people make a living off the rocks. And certainly Tucson's economy is very much reliant on this rock trade, as well as on Raytheon, the weapons of mass destruction that could cause a nuclear holocaust, which could be the end of the world. So Tucson's economy is very much part of this extinction reality that we're having to face. And here is some more dinosaurs. And a lot of crocodiles, you see. Crocodiles are one of the most ancient species that have been able to survive a number of devastations in the Earth's biosphere. So they've been with us a long time, these ancient creatures that were terrifying to the Egyptian civilization. One of their gods was actually the crocodile god that was terrified by the people who lived on the Nile. Today, there are very few, if any, crocodiles that are in a large section of the Nile since they have removed them. And during this gym show, there is also this wonderful place. Steve I and his wife Kati run a 2-week event of trying to understand the crystals in a spiritual way. A lot of New Age philosophy believes that these, and not just New Age, it's been going on for ever since humans started collecting rocks, that some rocks have these healing powers, and they can amplify healing so that you can do distance healing, or you can help somebody with emotional problems, or if you hold a certain rock at a certain place, it can help alleviate pain. So this healing with the crystals is part of the overall essence of this rock show. And these stories are very important. I have come to look at the rocks in terms of the stories. Now, there's two sides of these stories. One, that if you have a story to a rock, it helps to sell the rock. And so we have some very clever marketeers who come to the gym show and make all sorts of stories. Like, these are rocks that the UFOs have given us in order to help our ascension into the new consciousness. Now, maybe there is some truth to that, I don't know, but it's like a legend. It's a legend of the rocks, a legend of Lemuria, or these rocks came from Atlantis. So I like the stories. It's intriguing to me, and I also see the power of stories. So at the Galactic Center, my friend Kate was performing. This is not Kate, this is another friend. So I want to go back here, let me see, I want to show you Kate again. Kate was doing sound healing with the crystal bowls. And these crystal bowls, there they are, she's playing them, are made of quartz crystals and then other gemstones. And they make this wonderful sound that resonates, according to some people, with the crystals that make up our bodies. So it's this very healing and almost spiritual tones that come out of these bowls. If you have not had a chance to hear the crystal bowls, it's a wonderful 21st century technology that's been developed, and you can purchase them at the Gem Show. And Kate was at the Galactic Center. There she is at the Galactic Center on stone and tool, giving us a healing session with the bowls. And then this other friend, he was talking about sacred geometry, and there was a movie that was shown from a man that is living in Atlanta about sacred geometry and cataclysm. So I had to go see that. What are they doing, putting these two together? Because I have gotten to understand about sacred geometry and how it works. It's sacred because these are the patterns that make up the cosmos and our relationship with the earth and our relationships with the planets, and how we can align ourselves better using sacred geometry. And Harlan, the artist here, he actually makes these portals based on sacred geometry that people can hang out in. He's a Burning Man artist, which happens once a year in the Nevada desert. So he was giving an introduction to this film. And I had met him before at an Eco-City conference in San Francisco, where I actually got to give a presentation and I interviewed him, so it was good to see him again. He said that he had been working on Gaia stuff, which I've written a dissertation about that, so I said, well, yeah, I've written a dissertation about that. It's a feminist theory of architecture. He didn't like the word feminist. And, if, you know, me with male artists, I'm not really connecting that well with. I should be connecting, but it just isn't happening, and I want to heal that problem. And more of the gemstones. These are a popular stone that comes out of Dominican Republic, and there's no other source of this stone on Earth. And there are some more of these creatures that lived at one time and were very prevalent. They were everywhere. Then I also went to see these John of God crystals. I had to find out the story about these. A friend of mine, Ken, has been talking about these John of God crystals, and I wanted to know more about that. Now, they say that they're blessed by John of God. So when I went to the merchant selling them, I said, are these blessed by him or what? What's the story? And they said, oh, they're on his property in Brazil. Brazil is a country that is very blessed with a number of different crystals. So these crystals came from his property, and then they cut them into sacred geometry patterns that makes them very sparkly and beautiful. And finally, this is another friend of mine from the Eco-City conference in San Francisco, and somebody that I actually went to Brazil with for another Eco-City conference, and this is a man named Richard Register. And Richard is, I know he's also alumni of Arcosanti, where I lived and worked. And I respect Richard very much. He's an excellent writer. He's written several books on eco-cities, one called Eco-City Berkeley. And he has a real vision for how we can transform our present cities. He feels like he's not really getting listened to, and I feel like it's hard for me to be listened, for him to listen to me. You know, it's just another thing that, you know, I'm not really connecting with the male artist of my generation, and you know, maybe I should have invited him out. He was actually here visiting his son, who makes jewelry, and it was just a meaningful coincidence. That's how meaningful coincidence happen. But I should have been more on the ball and said, hey, let's go out for tea and talk, you know, about our colleges and what's happening, and get this movement going. And more of the amount of stones that come to Tucson is unbelievable. Not one person cannot see all of the shows. It's impossible to do that. And I went around pretty much a lot for 2 weeks looking at these stones, because I'm on the journey to find the philosopher's stone. I want to find that stone that changes the world, that we come into the golden age. So that's my purpose. I'm going to find that healing stone. And one place that I've been looking is meteorites. A couple of years ago, I really got into meteors. I mean, one of my friends, Rochelle, said, God, they're just so ugly. You know, they don't sparkle or anything. Well, that's not the point. The point is that they're cosmic. They enter Earth's atmosphere, and also they're not mined. This is not a mining process. People go and pick them up. And I talked to some of these meteor hunters, because they're very fascinating people. And I discussed, one person said he had found a meteor that came from Mars. And that was very interesting, how he said the rock kind of spoke to him. It came from, I think he said, the Sahara Desert, because it's easy to pick up meteors in the desert, because they fall down and there are these black or brown stones. And so the nomads go and pick them up, and then they bring them to a collector who then buys them from that nomad. And then they have to get them analyzed. Well, he just thought it was a regular meteor, but that rock kept on talking to him. It was near his desk. So finally he takes it to some laboratory, and they actually discovered that these are like Martian. It's a Martian from Mars, you know, like part of Mars that fell down to Earth. Very interesting story. So meteors. Is that the philosopher's stone? The philosopheress. We're talking about woman now, woman philosopher, which is different than a male philosopher, because the woman has the womb able to birth this golden age. More of I think this is a rose quartz, you know, because certainly the philosopheress' stone is about love. And that's a stone that they say is very loving and caresses the heart. And then there's some real negative stuff at the gem show too, like guns or animal hides or skulls of animals, which has a different vibe than some things. And some of the rocks, you get the vibe too of dynamite and blown up, and using explosives in order to get them out of the earth. And what does this do to the earth? That's the big question. It's like pumping all the oil out of the earth. And the native people think, hey, that's the blood of the earth. It needs it. It wants it inside all that fossil fuel that have been there for, you know, eons of time. And here in this century or the previous century, we've been pumping it on the surface and then burning it, so it's polluted our atmosphere. Not a smart idea. Well, same with these crystals. I've read that some people think that these crystals are like, it is the brain cells of Gaia, of our planet. And what happens when we start blowing it up? Do we lose our consciousness? Is that why humanity somehow cannot think clearly about what we are doing to the ecology? And these are more wands and crystals that help with communication. Now, searching for this philosopher's stone, the last day of the show, I didn't go because there was this happening. Cowspiracy. I went to see this movie instead. And this is much more on the line of the philosopher's stone. It is about our future and what's happening to our environment because of the what we've been doing for thousands of years, which is killing these animals. I have come to the conclusion that what the original sin is the eating of meat, is the slaughter of animals, is the blood sacrifice that we've been doing in order for the human race to pig out. And I shouldn't even say pig because we love pigs and we should not desecrate them by using a pejorative word. So forgive me. After the movie, it was a free movie of Cowspiracy, excellent movie. I suggest everybody go online. I think you can order it online and watch that movie. So they had this professor speak, Demo Martolis, and he was a professor from New York City, and he was talking about veganism. And after I saw his presentation, I realized that veganism is enlightenment. We can become, each one of us, enlightened to what is happening to the planet by being activists, deciding what we put into our mouth and why. And if you don't want to get cancer or heart disease or osteoporosis or these other terrible illnesses, then I suggest you join me in boycotting meat. And I'm talking about fish, chicken, eggs, and go vegan. Don't have anything to do with the exploitation of animals. It is so important to our future that we stop producing these animals for our consumption. You have to see the movie because it gets into everything. Deforestation, it gets into desertification, it gets into global warming, it gets into our water pollution. All of these things are the result of us doing animal husbandry all these centuries. And now it's just backed up, all of this karma that we have. And these animals, if we don't start treating them with love and kindness, then it's going to kill us. It's going to kill us. So that's what I learned from the Gem Show. That was quite a lot. And I want to say good night to all of you, and I hope that you will find the healing power within yourself to resist, to be strong, and to not eat meat.